How do you feel as if the charter is working for the town now that we're at 5 years?
Honestly, my thinking on this has evolved quite a bit over time. When I was on the Charter Review Committee initially, I had just come off being part of the group that actually opposed the charter. We weren't fans of it. So at the time, I was probably a little more skeptical of the charter. But now, after 5 years, particularly after being on council for 3 years, I'd have to say that I think it's working fine. Well, I used to say there were things about the charter that I would do differently, but even that's, I've kind of evolved my thinking on that because, and this actually really came to me when I watched another of your meetings when Mark Fisher came and spoke to you. And he talked about the debates that the members of the Charter Commission had and how a lot of what came out of it were compromises. And so for me now to sit there and say, well, I'd do it differently, I don't know that I would have, because if I was on that commission and arguing those same points, I might very well have come to the same compromises that they did. That's the whole nature of government, is compromising to get things done. I honestly can't say that I think there's anything about the charter that isn't working, that's broken and needs to be fixed immediately. I think it's working fine. The elephant in the room, I guess, that always comes up is the charter president, the council president, sorry. I don't love the method that they came with. My biggest problem with it is I feel like it encourages bullet voting, that if somebody really wants a person to be council president, the only way to ensure that is if that's the only person you vote for. If you vote for 9 people, then you're really saying, any of the 9, I'm okay with them being council president. But practically speaking, I'm not sure there's really a better way to do it. They wanted to give the people a reason to vote and give them somebody to vote for, and that was the way to do it. So there are times when, but that hasn't been a problem yet, because I think in the first council, the logical choice for council president was Keith LaPointe, and that's who became council president. The next 2 councils, the logical choice was Justin Pare. He became president. So we haven't really run into an issue yet where I think somebody who is unqualified for the position ends up being council president because they happen to be popular. If that were to ever happen, then yeah, that would probably be something I'd say we need to take a look at.
I guess I'll start off with the question that I start off with Dan. How do you feel as if the charter is working, good, bad, or indifferent?
From my experience, it works very well. Of course, I've had experience in a couple of different offices under the charter and under the old charter. I was on RTM for a few years, and then I've also been on a school committee under both forms of government.
The owner of the Angle Tree Brewery was here speaking. I only caught half of it because I was out in the hallway for a minute taking pictures. But what I caught of it was there was a licensing issue. And so I'm wondering if you can kind of reflect on that.
There's always been sort of a perception of inconsistency regarding the treatment of small businesses, I suppose, in town. I think that was a prime example of why that perception exists. And I actually think that's potentially an area where, I mentioned there's a liaison to the school committee. Perhaps there could be a town council liaison to the licensing board or other boards, such as the planning board or this or that, to help us know exactly what's going on, where members on different boards stand and whatnot.